What if I told you that the softest fruit begins in silence? That before it sweetens on your tongue, it blooms like snow, held by branches shaped by human hands and patient time. This isn't just a harvest. It's a story of seasons, of care passed down through generations, of blossoms, bees, and a quiet devotion rooted in the soil. The cherry, or the peach, may be small, but its journey is vast, and what it carries is far richer than just taste. So stay with us. Let's follow this fruit from the first bud to the moment it finds its way to you. Beneath a sky just beginning to soften with spring, the land waits, quiet, steady, alive beneath the surface. Before any cherry can bloom, before any color graces the trees, the earth must be readied with care passed down through generations. Farmers begin by walking the fields, feeling the ground with their boots and fingertips, reading the soil like an old friend. It must be loose, well-drained, and just right, not too sour, not too stubborn. If the earth speaks of too much acidity, they offer lime. If it feels tired, they revive it with compost or aged manure, full of warmth and memory. This is not factory work. This is rhythm and patience. Rows are measured with precision, not by machines, but by experience, a kind of wisdom that knows where the sun will fall and how the roots will reach. The trees aren't planted in haste. Each young sapling is placed into the ground like a promise, roots nestled in soil made fertile by sweat and season. Water follows, slow and deep, not to rush but to welcome. And then, the wait begins. Quiet, slow, powerful. Because good fruit doesn't begin with a harvest. It begins with devotion to the ground beneath it. When winter loosens its grip and the days begin to stretch with light, the orchard stirs, not with noise, but with breath. What was bare becomes tender. The cherry trees, still skeletal from the cold, begin to swell at each bud. And then, as if overnight, it happens. Petals unfurl like silk, soft and trembling in the breeze. White and blush-pink blossoms cover the limbs, each flower a silent herald of what's to come. The entire orchard transforms into a sea of bloom, as if snow had fallen upward, then clung to every branch with grace. It is breathtaking, but fleeting. These blossoms last only days. A single rain, a sharp wind, could scatter them like paper dreams. And so, the moment is sacred. And then come the bees. They arrive with gentle urgency, humming from flower to flower, golden bodies dusted with pollen. They do not wait, they do not waste. Their work is quiet, but it holds the entire season in its wings. Without them, there are no cherries. Just blossoms and goodbye. As the bees vanish into the next row, a change begins. Tiny green fruit, barely visible, takes root where petals once danced. A transformation has begun, silent, sure, and full of promise. Because before sweetness ever touches your lips, it blooms in silence. It begins with wings, with wind, with wonder. Before the orchard explodes into color, while the cold still lingers in the breath of morning, the farmers return, not to sow, but to cut. In the silence of late winter, the pruning begins. There is no rush, no harshness, only intent. Each branch is studied like a sentence, and the shears are the punctuation. Some limbs are too crowded, others too weary. They go. What remains is space, space for sunlight to filter through, for air to move freely, for the fruit to form without fighting for light. It may look cruel from a distance, this trimming away of life. But here in the orchard, it is love. Pruning is an act of trust, a shaping of what is now, for what is coming. The farmer doesn't prune for today. They prune for summer. For fruit not yet seen. For the sweetness not yet born. As old wood falls to the ground in quiet piles, a new silhouette emerges, leaner, stronger, open to the sky. The tree stands changed. Not less, but more. And so, before the orchard becomes heavy with red jewels, it must first become bare, with intention, with patience, with hands that know when to let go. Because sometimes, the most generous growth begins with what we're willing to release. When the sun sits high and the orchard breathes the heat of early summer, the fruit reveals itself, quietly, brilliantly. No trumpet, no call. Just a shift in color, a deepening of hue. The soft blush turns bold. Red deepens into garnet. Skin smooths and tightens. The cherries are ready. But readiness is not ripeness. And ripeness is not rush. Harvesting cherries is a ritual, one built on timing, touch, and tenderness. The fruit bruises easily, loves the stem that holds it, and demands to be handled with care. Gloves are worn not to protect the hands, but to honor the cherry. Baskets are cradled like something sacred. Pickers move through the orchard like dancers, their steps sure. Their fingers deliberate. They twist, not pull. They listen to the fruit. And every cherry picked carries not just juice, but judgment, the decision of someone who knows this tree, this season, this sun. There are no shortcuts here. No automation that can replace the whisper between hand and branch. By day's end, the bins are filled with thousands of tiny suns, each one caught at its peak. Each one carrying the sweetness of timing, of touch, of toil. Because a cherry, when picked at just the right moment, is not just food. It's a reward. It's the pause between labor and celebration. It is summer made flesh. There are orchards so vast, their rows ripple like waves beneath the sun, miles of branches, millions of cherries. Here, the work of hands alone is not enough. And so, the machines arrive, not to replace, but to assist. They move with surprising grace, not the clatter of factories, but the hum of respect. Large arms extend beneath the trees, gently wrapping each trunk. A pulse, a tremble, and the cherries let go, as if knowing it is time. They fall not to the ground, but into soft nets, wide and waiting like woven hands. These machines do not rush. Their rhythms are slow, careful, tuned to the tempo of ripeness. What they gather is guided by sight, by color, by patience built into their design. There is no violence here, only collaboration. And still, humans walk beside them, checking, guiding, listening. Technology here is not loud. It is kind. It is humble. It respects the fruit. It understands the balance between speed and gentleness. Tons of cherries are gathered in a day. Yet not one is taken without care. Because in a field that feeds the world, progress means nothing if it forgets the dignity of the fruit, and the hands that once held it. The moment a cherry is picked, a quiet race begins, not for glory, but for freshness. Its skin, so delicate. Its flavor, so fleeting. It cannot linger in limbo. It must move, now. Within hours. Bins of newly harvested cherries are carried to cool shade, then rushed to packing houses where the air hums with purpose. Workers, steady and swift, sort each cherry by hand and eye. Only the firmest, the brightest, the unblemished pass through. They are washed, cooled, and cradled in boxes not built for storage, but for speed. Some will travel by truck. Some by plane. Some across oceans, their cold breath sealed within temperature-controlled chambers that hold off time just long enough. Each cherry is labeled, tracked, and destined, Tokyo, Toronto, Dubai. Or your local market stall. In less than a day, What once clung to a branch beneath the morning sun may now rest on a shelf thousands of miles away, still gleaming, still whole. Hold a cherry in your hand, small, simple, glowing like a drop of sunlight. It may seem delicate, but within it lives a story far greater than its size. A story of wind and water. Of blossoms that came and went like whispers. Of farmers who rose before the sun. Of hands that harvested gently, choosing with care. Of miles crossed in silence so that you could hold it here, now. This is more than fruit. It is patience. It is precision. It is love wrapped in a stem and sealed with summer's breath. You bite, and it bursts with sweetness. But also memory. Of fields, of faces. Of time spent growing something just right. So if this journey has touched you, if it made you see what's behind the simple things we take for granted, we invite you to stay with us. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. And let's keep discovering the beauty that grows quietly all around us. Thank you, truly, for watching. We'll see you in the next harvest.